Hey everybody, it's Book of Catherine. I hope you're doing well. It's Thanksgiving week and I am back for Black Friday Part 2. Sorry, we know why I stutter now. We actually have answers to that if you've been following my channels. We know why I've been stuttering now. So and we're getting it fixed. I'm in speech therapy. Yay. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you about Black Friday, if I can. I'll link it right up here, my first Black Friday. I shared that on my Twitter at Book of Catherine, and I talked about that last year, and I talked about how stores use Black Friday as a way of closing out their overstock. So if, say, cosmetic companies have all of this overstock of, say, a purple color or a blue color, or I saw it a lot with certain companies, even lower end companies. One year they had a huge overstock of oranges and taupes and browns, and just everything they had, they sold on influencer channels. And what they did is they color corrected on the screen, and it made it look like this whole range of nudes. And instead, when you got them in the mail, they were all the same color. It was all like a stone color, or it was all like the same brown color. And what they did is they color corrected on the screen. They had editors behind on the screen that color corrected and made them all look like different colors. But when you actually got them in the mail, they were the same color. And what it was they were getting rid of overstock of this one pigment that didn't sell, or when they actually sold the pigment, they thought that it would sell well, but they over ordered the pigment in order to make sure that they don't lose profits, right? Because profit over life and profit over ethics, that's the name of the game today. They need to be able to sell it off. And so the end of the year, you have to remember, in terms of marketing and in terms of business, the last quarter of the year, we are in the last quarter of the year. We think as shoppers, we think as consumers, we're like, oh, end of the year, we think Christmas. That's what we're thinking. Companies don't think that way. They think this is the fourth quarter. For companies, they're always thinking first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. And at the end of each of those quarters, they have to report back to their board and show the profits that they made for that quarter. So quarters are split into 3 months. So you've probably heard of quarters for business profits in Wall Street. Those quarters are not like quarters in a sports game like football at all. What those quarters are, or the first 3 months of the year, like January, February, and March, that's the first quarter of the year. And so when they talk about first quarter profits or first quarter predictions for Wall Street, or for, like, if they say Best Buy first quarter predictions, so that what they're saying is like what we predict they're going to make in profits. Or they say, oh, the job market, like, oh, it was third quarter was way beyond what we actually thought it would be. So when you see the White House actually saying this is what the job market was for third quarter, it was really exciting. Or for August was this quarter, and this is making this quarter. That's what they're talking about, is third quarter. So everyone kind of thinks in the business world in terms of quarters. So for the business world, fourth quarter, we're in fourth quarter right now, which means at the end of the year, anything that they didn't do at the beginning of their first, second, third quarter, any mistakes that they made, this is it. They know that it's Christmas season. So for those of you who have been confused, like they've been anti Jesus, like the one thing they've been anti, like they've been like totally this whole leftist thing globally. Globally, they've been like, do whatever you want, like go ahead and do Wiccan and witchcraft and Luciferian, and even doing shows like saying Lucifer. They say no to the Bible, except that they say Lucifer, the only place Lucifer shows up is actually in the Bible, right? So they're like, oh, Lucifer and Luciferianism and Wiccan and practice witchcraft and everything, all of that's in the Bible, right? But they don't say Jesus, which is also in the Bible. That they're like, no Jesus. And all these like things have been going on where the nativity scenes have been smashed and everything. But they still push Christmas. Even in China, they've been pushing Christmas. But they don't allow Jesus in China. That you can get arrested for and put into concentration camps for. So, but what you can do is do the Christmas trees, the Christmas gifts, the Christmas lights. So big trees, and that's like the pagan version of Christmas. The going around, there is a whole pagan religion where you surround a tree and you hold hands around a tree and you do a pagan worshiping thing to the tree. And so that's left back from like Roman times. And so that has been pushed instead. And so is Santa Claus. Santa Claus is actually something that traces back to Germany. So that's a German thing of a spirit and an actual spiritual thing of a spirit or something like that. Santa Claus, it's not based in like Saint Nick, it's based in something else. So that's also something like rooted in, they say it's like split, like whether or not it comes from paganism. So there's this whole thing about, like, if you look into it, like we looked into it online, and it's this whole thing about like what it does to kids, what Saint Nick did to kids and stuff like that. So in the German paganism religions and stuff, so they still push that sort of thing. And so the people have been confused, like, why do they still push Christmas, but they don't allow you to say Merry Christmas? They don't allow you to sing Joy to the World anymore and stuff like that. And that's because they're still pushing the Christmas gifts, because that really lets you clear out fourth quarter and make you make up any mistakes that you make in those first, second, third quarters. Does that make sense? But if you push this the Jesus version of the Bible, then that's saying, like, actually be responsible with your money. Like Jesus told all these, we've been studying that on my Twitter feed. We've been studying what Jesus actually says. And Jesus is like, be really, really wise with your money. He says, go ahead and invest it and be smart with it. And like, don't sit on your money, but don't like give it all away, like actually do something with it. And he very much preaches, it turns out, something very, very much akin to starting your own business, which is like, it's been very, very fascinating, like totally goes against like the Roman Empire and slavery, right? It's very, very fascinating, like what the actual teachings are and why they're putting down one thing and another. So it's very fascinating to see all of it and learn like the history, and going back into like all the empires and the Sumerian empires, but that's all side of the thing. So anyway, so what I'm going to get into today, after I talked about that and how they clear out these fourth quarter things, you guys have been saying like, well, how do I shop responsibly? So, in going into Black Friday, well, we really want to save. And I said last year, I thought I saved $600 on Clinique 2 years ago. Like, I was really excited. I thought 2 years ago I saved $600 on Clinique product, and then I ended up returning absolutely everything except for my moisturizer. And then it turned out I didn't even need the moisturizer because I gotten it in a free gift earlier that year. And I was like, oh crap, I didn't even need to do that, right? So, because I got such a large size, I got nearly the same size in a gift. And so number one, what you can do is you can actually wait until first quarter. So that means not waiting until the fourth quarter when they're trying to make up all their mistakes. For example, like I said, wait till JCPenney, like JCPenney brings in all new stock and has new stock made that's really, really cheaply made. They don't put in their actual stock. They bring in super big, cheap stock that they have made for it. Well, what I've noticed is that as my husband and I have gone back to JCPenney to do our shopping, that's the kind of stock we've been finding in JCPenney. We haven't been able to shop at JCPenney ever since then. We've been finding very similar, really crappily made stock. Like, he puts on the shirts and it makes him bend over. Like, he can't actually put the shirts on. It makes him go in a bend. He can't actually stand up with his shoulders. And I'm like, what? Are they so anti-Jordan Peterson that they're like, we won't let the men stand with their shoulders back? Like chapter 1 of 12 Rules for Your Life. They're actually going to make the shirt so you have to bend over. Like, I'm like, what is going on? So we've had to really just go into the only place we shop anymore for in-store clothing where we have to shop anymore is Macy's. If we don't do Macy's, the main thing that we do is thrift store shopping, where we get our best clothes, our finest clothes. I'm wearing that right now. My nicest clothes are all from thrift stores or vintage shops. The second thing that we do, because we're not always able to get all the sizes, sometimes we have very unique sizes and we don't have the time because of all of my medical trips. You guys know that. We just don't have the time. Then when we do a store, then we usually do Macy's. And even that's been really hit or miss. That's been difficult and it's hard to have the time to do Macy's. But that's what we've done. And my husband has also done some things for JCPenney. Some things at JCPenney are still good. I still think some of their bathrobes might be good. I do know the Chevelle blankets. I believe they're still good. Not all the Chevelle blankets are made in America, it turns out. Some of them are made in China. But the ones that I have, the ones that I showed you on my channel, and I'll try and link that up here, my Chevelle blankets, those are made in America. As far as I still know, they're made in New York. It actually has a tag, made in New York, right on it. So anyway, but I'll show you like this JCPenney one I showed you. That's this one right here. That I said it looks like all of my other things. Look what ended up happening to it. Like, this goes to show you, this didn't happen. This is one that I bought that year, right? 2 years ago in that big sale. Like, it ripped up the house. Do you see that? So even though it was nicer and still looked like the older stock, it like ripped up, and I've never had JCPenney stuff do that. Like, it ripped up all along. Look at all that fraying. And that's one that I showed you. Now, none of the things I gotten even a year previous to that, the bathrobes, none of that's happened to that. My bathrobes are still beautiful, but I've gotten those 3 years ago now. And so I'm like, I can't even begin to shop there. So the things that I've gotten that I've had to do store buying are things like Macy's, and I'll show you the things I've gotten at Macy's. For example, the thing that I just did for you at the Aerosmith, like I listened to Aerosmith to get ready for this for you. You guys got so into Aerosmith after I did Dream On, and I'll see if I have time to link that here. Dream On that I just did, it went nuts. Everyone loved that. I still can't believe that I did that. Do you remember I went up? Of course you remember. So I went up. I still can't believe that. And you know what? I actually filmed right before that. I started to film to another song. And I wore the outfit for another song. I actually wore the outfit for another song, and I actually went on a lower rung and started to do that move, and I fell. I couldn't do the move, and I was like, oh, I need to stop taping. I need to find like a slower, like easier song for me. And I thought Dream On would be like nicer and easier. And what did it do? Like Dream On by Aerosmith. I should have known it was a rock song. And Aerosmith sent me to the ceiling and up there and doing a move that I wasn't. I was like, I guess I'm not doing that move today. Oh, no. Oh, no. The one that I fell on. And that's the power of music. And isn't it interesting? I saw Aerosmith while I was listening to it today. You guys are going to have to listen to this at like 1/10 of the speed. You guys are going to have to get on YouTube and set the settings and be like, watch on slow. Because I'm talking like a chipmunk. I'm like, da-da-da-da-da-da. But Aerosmith said that the most powerful drug is music. And they said that like 2 years ago or something, in like 2015 or 4 years ago. I can't remember when the date of it was, at a recovery center. And they said the greatest drug is music. And I'm like, well, that is true for me. And I'm like, find your drug. Everybody has a different drug. And it's basically when you find what you're made for. Aerosmith is clearly made for music. I'm clearly made to dance to music. And so that's like my drug. It clearly makes me like get up and like do things, and it's getting me out of my recovery of like spine procedures and things like that. So anyway, the shirt that I wore for it, when you find what you're made for, that will be, your drug. You just have to find what you're made for. And if there are people in your life that aren't encouraging that in you, then say goodbye. I'm not doing Thanksgiving with you. I'm going to go do it with friends that actually do. Go rent a cabin somewhere, go find a cabin and have a great Thanksgiving. I'll talk about that later. So anyway, this shirt is one that I got at Macy's recently. And so this is ink. Remember I said I love INC. So I love international concepts. That's what I usually end up looking at and getting. It usually ends up going, so that's it. I got this international concepts. I got that, and I also got it in black. I got it in 2 different sizes because my pain can really range. And so I got it in black and blue. I think I've worn both of them already for you guys. But the pants that I wore with it, these pants were vintage. Like these I already got at a thrift store. The ones that were like the nicest thing in the outfit that I wore, these I got at a thrift store. Like these I got at a consignment shop. I believe a consignment shop. And the consignment shop was having a huge 50% off sale. And so that's my recommendation to you, is that when you do, like you're looking for sales and you want to be smart with your money, I say do first quarter. Like first quarter Macy's has amazing sales. Don't do like the first or second week of January. Kind of wait into January, right in through March. Like I said, Chevelle blankets. Chevelle, you guys are probably writing notes. Write notes on while I talk through this, because I am not healthy enough to actually like do this in a nice, format for you. Nice linear format. Gosh, I used to teach at colleges on, linear format. That's how I used to teach. Oh, my nice head injury. Anyway, so that's why I get so frustrated all the time when I go like this everywhere, because I used to actually teach about being linear. It's really frustrating for me to hear myself go all over the place. It just kills me every time, but I'm a little bit easier on myself now that I understand why I'm doing it. So anyway, so first quarter is the way to do it. Like Chevelle in March are the great bedding sales. And that's at Macy's and also at JCPenney. So when you wait till first quarter, the reason is that no one's shopping. Everyone's done the Christmas sales. Everyone's done the Black Friday sales. And so now they have to show good first quarter profits, and they're trying to get you back in the store because you've spent all your money. At the end of the year, you've spent all your money. They got you with all the sales with the 75% off, and they're like, oh crap, we need to get you in the store. Not only that, but they're releasing the new products. They're releasing the new products at the same time. And so everything is, or they're ending the products from the year before, and they're like, let's close out the products that we're finishing, and we want to release we're getting ready to release the new products. And so then they start putting out the products that are actually real products. And so you get much better deals in the actual winter and spring, right in that February, right in that end of January sale, and that February and then the March sale is really great for bedding. So each industry has a better sale. They kind of have their times in that first quarter area. That's why like the best sales for electronics are always going to be for the around Super Bowl weekend. That is the best time to get like electronics because they really want you in there and they know that you're shopping. But that's first quarter. There's a reason for that. It's not going to be Black Friday. Your stuff's going to fall apart. They make TVs just for that. Made in China crap, slave labor. You don't want to do it. It's going to just fall apart on you. Never worth what you do. Never, ever worth what you pay. Ever, ever worth what you pay. It never lasts, and you end up, over the long run, over the years, you end up paying more. That's why we're so impoverished. We're making more as a society, but we're in so much more debt. And that's because we're making these decisions where we think we're shopping so well, but then the items don't last us very long. And so you want to get things like this, like when you go to a thrift store like this, I don't know if you can tell, but you can see how very strong this material is. You saw how it moved on the video. This Lycra, they don't really make Lycra anymore like this. Like this Lycra is very, very dense. It's really, really gorgeous Lycra. Do you see how thick it is? Like they don't really make that anymore. You're only going to be able to get that in things like thrift stores and vintage stores. And that's very different than this that you're going to get at Macy's and pay a lot more for, you know. And then you get this kind of Lycra, which is still better. This is the best you're going to get. It's the best I found it, you know, and it just bounce, right? Much, much thinner, right? And then even this kind of stretches out. I've got the best one they had. So, but it's very, very different. You can see already the elasticity. And so that's not going to last me through very many washes. It just isn't. It's just not going to last me through very many washes. Those pants are going to last me through a lot of washes. They just are. The color's not going to fade. And so I'm going to have those pants for a long time. I'm going to have those pants a lot longer than I'm going to have this top. And that's the point, you know, and you can find a lot of endless classics. And that's what you also want to think. The other thing that I've got at Macy's, though, like there are some good things. You just got to be a good shopper. I did get these pants at Macy's. You guys saw this in Old Town Road. And I'll try and attach that below or up in the corner if I have time. I'll try and attach that up here if I have time in Old Town Road with Little Nass. These pants, I was trying to get pants that were really wide at my waist because the gripping really makes me go into episodes. And so these are beautiful, beautiful pants. And I've been able to wear these from everything from lessons to videos. They're really, really long. They're really, really long. They go all the way to the floor, but they were just... These stood out. Like you can see how heavy that material is. I'm telling you, they didn't have any other pants like this. They were like 1 in a million at Macy's. I got really, really lucky. When I went back to Macy's 6 months later, they didn't have anything like it. They just didn't have anything like it. And I was like, what happened? And so like you have to, it can be hit or miss, but look at that. Look at how gorgeous they are. So it depends. You just have to be shopping and hit it at the right time, I guess. And then the problem is that you're gonna pay a little bit more. And I always recommend, like, if you can, if your credit allows it, like that's the only credit card I really keep anymore, like that I really use anymore, is the Macy's credit card, because you do get discounts with it. Like if you're gonna do a credit card, Macy's credit card is the only one that I really use anymore. Because I do get discounts on it, but it's just so tempting to just, you know, end up staying in the cycle or whatever. And I would just highly recommend just doing cash, always doing cash. So if you want to be responsible with your money, then first quarter, stick with that. You can sometimes get some good things at JCPenney. You'd really have to shop, but I've kind of given up. Like I really haven't found anything in a long time. And not like I'm able to get down there very often. But in the times I've gotten down there, we've only bought my husband a few things, and that's been very rare. There are like some pants we know that fit him, and as we lose weight, no one seems to sell like the things like that. As we lose weight, it seems like that's one of the things that really got me about JCPenney, is something that just 2 years ago, I was wearing a large in, and all of a sudden I'm an extra small. And I'm like, I only went down like one size, and I'm all of a sudden extra small. And I'm like, what's going on at JCPenney? Like they're really upsizing their things. They're really just, I'm like, I shouldn't be fitting in an extra small. I mean, I'm sorry, has anyone seen these? Like, has anyone really seen like just how, I don't know if you can see that, but like, this is my waist. Now this is my waist, you guys. This is my waist with that extra skin on it. Do you know how much extra skin I have on this? Like, I don't want to, like, this is how much extra skin I have from losing all that weight, right? And then the boobs come out. Like, that's, so my waist really starts here, and then the boobs come out. Like, I shouldn't be fitting in an extra small. Like, and it's still like, I'm fitting in an extra small, and I'm like, wow, JCPenney's like really, really vanity sizing. It's kind of scary. So I was like, oh, this is what Milo's talking about. So anyway, so I just think if you want to be wise with your money, then I would say for basics on things like clothing and things like makeup, be smart and wait until the spring. You know that I always recommend Clinique for makeup if you're going to do really, like, if you're going to go into something like Sephora or Ulta or drug or a department store, I'm going to be like MAC or Clinique. Both are made in America. I'm going to be like those all the way. They're going to last you. They're not going to die in 3 months. You know, they're not going to start falling apart on you in the face. Now, the other thing that I do for makeup, and then I would say just definitely wait until first quarter or do it throughout the year. Of course, Clinique has those amazing, or do Cosmetics Company. Anything Estee Lauder is an amazing, amazing buy. Estee Lauder is made in America. I would highly recommend. Their skincare is amazing as well. So there's other things that they do, like Bobbi Brown is also made in America, things like that. But Smashbox too. But I found that I really enjoy Clinique makeup. I really, really enjoy Clinique makeup. They are starting to phase out the colors that Clinique do. For example, I'm wearing Clinique on this side. They're starting to phase out gorgeous colors like this and put in orangey colors like this. And that is a gorgeous color, isn't it? And I can only find it in Clinique. It's really unfortunate that they're fading these colors out. They're even fading them out on color palettes and things like that when I'm doing designing, which I just hate. So it's just like they're taking all the warmth out of the world. So as you can even see in cameras and stuff. So I'm hoping they're bringing it back in. I hear they're bringing it back in. Let's hope. So anyway, so there's that. And then let's see what else. Let me hold on. Pause. Right. So there are some things that you can buy during Black Friday that they don't really replace and order stock in. Like you can get the actual stock that you're supposed to be getting. Those things will be non-essentials, like things you don't use a lot, like not electronics, not clothing, not running shoes. And that's usually what we buy on Black Friday. It'll be non-essentials, things like decorations, like things like Michael's. I don't know if they started switching that out or not, but like we went to Michael's once on a Thursday, on a Thanksgiving, on a trip outside of town to go to a friend's out in LA, out in Hollywood. And we stopped by a Michael's and we were like, hey, and we were able to get stuff like this. And this is their normal stock, right? I think I showed you this last year. And now the cats can't do anything with it or whatever. So we got stuff like this. But even now, I'm just kind of like, I really, really like, you know, when I look at stuff like this now, I've shown you some of it. Like last year I showed you the vintage, like last year, like this stuff. Last year I showed you, look how pretty that looks on camera. That makes it look a lot better than it kind of is in person, to be honest. That really makes it look gorgeous. So I don't know if you can see, compare it to my earrings. Okay, there you go. I'm wearing vintage earrings. Do you see how much brighter that is? Like those vintage earrings pop compared to this. So I think that what I've noticed is that I've noticed that just like vintage, I've enjoyed vintage decorations more. You know, like I showed you this last year. Like we're starting to just enjoy vintage decorations a lot more. And I showed you that vintage tinsel last year. Like we bought vintage tinsel, made in America tinsel, things that are made in America. It's just way better. So when I start seeing stuff like this, I'm just like, oh, this is okay. You know, but now I'm starting to notice, I can almost tell instantaneously if it was made in China. I'm just like, oh, it's just kind of plastic made in China. It's okay. I mean, the camera's making it look great, but it doesn't look that great in person. I'm starting to really notice. For example, I had one hell of a time trying to get dressed for you today. Do you know why I had a hell of a time getting dressed for you today? This is something I'm running into doing thrift shops. Okay, so this is going to sound like vain or maybe or whatever, but this is just the reality situation. If you've been shopping in thrift shops, you might know what I'm talking about. Okay, so this was bought at a consignment shop, like a fancy consignment shop. This is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so now look at the button with it. Oh God. Okay, Don't give me crap. I can't help the way my body is. All right, so this is the pin, right? This is the way the button goes. And you can see how it's made. You see those crystals or whatever, right? Okay, pretty, and the camera makes it look all great. That's fantastic. All right, but then you get this pin, and then you see that ring, and then you get these earrings. Ta-da! All right, so this pin this pin is made in China. Like, this shirt is not nearly this pin. I was like trying to find earrings that didn't, like, I don't know if that makes sense, but I was having a really hard time finding earrings that were not like to meet the level of this. I didn't know the camera was going to make it look better than it is. I guess they've really worked the cameras or whatever. So do you see how this vintage ring just outshines this buckle right here? Like, this is a vintage ring. So it just like ba-ba, ba-ba, and it makes this clasp look crappy because it was made in China. And so what I do now, when you go in person, like if I try to teach a lesson, which I'm not doing very often, I'm learning, I'm working with PT, staying indoors a lot more. So the thing is that when I wear a pin like this, though, it's very obvious. And when I take pictures, it's obvious. I'm wearing a pin like this and it's made in China, and I'm just like, I gotta wear earrings that kind of match the quality, if that makes sense. And now I've been buying in thrift shops, and the quality I'm able to shop, like there's made in China stuff in thrift shops, don't get me wrong, but I'm not gonna buy it. I'm like, nope, I'm done with slave labor, I'm done with prison camp labor, I'm done with all of that, I'm done with forced labor, I'm not buying forced labor anymore. I'm so done with it. I'm done with polluted. Like anything to do with pollution, if they don't have environmental regulations, I'm done with it. And like they don't have table water anymore. They've completely, like they've polluted the house. It's apocalyptic pollution over there. They're wearing face masks. The citizens of China have to wear face masks. The pollution is so bad. It's just black air over there from all of these things being made with like no environmental restrictions whatsoever, dollar a day labor. I'm like, no. And it shows. And this is at a nicer camp, I'm sure, because it's a little bit nicer and on a nicer top or whatever. This is vintage. So this is like a level up. And then this is a further level up. And then this is like, this is probably second highest. And then this is the highest, right? And so I have to try and match the qualities now. I'm like, okay, so like this will go with this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to match qualities. And so one of the things I can show you here, like, I'm going to show you how this goes. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I wanted to wear this necklace for you today, and I'm seeing that the camera kind of blanks it all out. But I was like, oh, I'll wear this necklace for you today. This will look really, really pretty. And I was like, oh, I can't wear this necklace because look at it. It goes ka-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. Like, I was just like, I can't do it. Like, the necklace is vintage. Got it at a thrift shop for like $1. But like competing with this, and I was like, fine, I'll find something that's like less shiny, and I'll do that. You know what I mean? I was just like, I'll find something that doesn't compete as much. And it's like I had to actually like take things that I wanted and downgrade them because I have stuff that's still made in China. And that's why I hold on to my made in China jewelry, because I'm like, well, I still have clothing that has, and when I lose the weight and don't fit in this anymore, I'm not buying it anymore. I'm just doing thrift shop. And I'm like, that's so funny because it's just, this was consignment, but I'm learning the quality of things. And I'm just like, I get more and more picky with my taste because I'm like, I'd rather have it last forever. Okay, so here is a great example. So this, I'm trying to think, I think this is Bagley and Mishka or whatever. This is like a $600 to $800, like some kind of amazing, isn't that gorgeous? Like amazing, where it is a necklace too, but it's meant for, right? Bagley and Mishka, like some kind of amazing $600 to $800, isn't that beautiful? I know it's beautiful, 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 right? Okay, but then I go ahead and take it, and I don't know, since the camera's kind of screwing with it, then I take it and I put it up right next to some of my vintage stuff or my thrift store things, and I'm just like, well, now what does it look like to you? Do you see what I'm saying? Does it look like $800 anymore? Or does it look like plastic from China? Do you see what I'm saying? And this is something that's like, what, $2 or $3 from a thrift store? And I mean, I had to pick through it. I mean, I had to shop, but you guys are into shopping and you say you want to be responsible with your money. And I'm just saying that you just go and you be responsible with your money and you go to thrift stores and you're smart with your money. You dig and you go and get through it and you have a good eye and you learn to have a good eye, just like you had to. I was the same way at JCPenney. I was the same way at Macy's, and I was the same freaking way at Bloomingdale's. Bloomingdale's did the same thing. Bloomingdale's had the same thing. They had the same lovely range of quality, same lovely range. They do the same lovely range and those lovely, when you go into the shoe, when you go into luxury shoes, man, they do the same thing. They had handmade shoes and then they had China-made shoes. You could totally tell. You could totally tell. They do the same thing with luxury bags, and I've done a lot of videos on luxury bags. So I'm just saying, like, I was just like, well, so much for that. It's not about, that's Boss Jewelry. And so I'm just saying, be responsible with your money. And I don't know, my entire approach has changed about being responsible with my money. This is another example. I love these earrings, right? I love these earrings. They're amazing ballroom earrings, right? But these are China-made earrings. They cost me like $35, right? They're just, and that they should be more. Like in the city, they'd be more. Out in the country, $35. Well, not kind of in the country. I went into, I don't know what to call it. Whatever you call, I would call it the city out in the country, like the big town out in the country. Like, it certainly wasn't where I live, but it's the closest, like, city center out in the country. Kids are like, oh, some kids are like, it's not the country. And then the people over, I would say, over 50, over 45, over 40. The people over 35. The people over 35 say it's the country out here, who have lived there their whole lives, right? So I don't know what it is. I don't know what the drawing line is or whatever. And so here's my thing. Here's the way I put it. Since I've lived, totally in the city, and I've lived all over in California. Like, there isn't a part of California I haven't lived or whatever. So this is the way I put it. If on your drive to work or on your drive to school, you look out of your car window and it looks like a national park, you live in the country. You live in the country. You live in Palm Springs and you look up and you see Mount San Jacinto. You live in the country. You live out in the country. You know it, Palm Springs. That's why they have all the festivals they have out there. You're in the middle of nowhere. I know if you go further out and I know that there's a difference between Indian Springs and Palm Springs. And that's what I mean. Like, Palm Springs would be like, the town, and then Indian Springs would be more like, the country or whatever. But the fact of the matter is that Palm Springs ain't the city. Palm Springs ain't the city. You got a big, huge mountain and you're surrounded by like national park surroundings. That's it. You're in the country. You're in the country. You're in the country. You're in the country. That's where you are. When you drive down the freeway and all you see around you is concrete and big, huge signs, like, that's it. It's concrete and big, huge signs and big, huge advertisements. Then you're in the city. If you don't know what I'm talking about concrete and big, huge billboards everywhere, like every single, quarter mile? Every single quarter mile, there's a billboard. If you don't know what I'm talking about, every quarter mile, there's a fence along the line. It's just concrete. You see another road to the right and another road to your left, and it's just billboard every quarter mile. If you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, then you live in the country. There you go. Anyway, so I bought these in like whatever, country / whatever. I bought these out where I live. This I bought in the thrift store. So this was $35, right? And this was $5, I think. I can't remember. I can't keep it all straight. All right, let's talk about the difference between these two. Shall we? No, this was $3. I remember where I got this at the Salvation Army. I got this at the Salvation Army in the $3 rack. In the $3 rack. Can we talk about that? The $3 rack. Oh my God, it's not even showing how gorgeous this is. I don't even know how to explain how insanely good quality. Is it even going to focus on how nice? Yeah, there we go. On how insanely beautiful this chain is. Do you understand? I remember being breathless that it was in the $3 rack and scared that someone was going to steal it from me while I was standing there at the cash register. Like, I want to put it on now. And it's so nice and heavy and dense, you know? And this thing, like, it's nice and everything, but already, like, I wore it once and one of the stones popped out. And luckily, I have the jewelry glue because, you know, I was a ballroom dancer. And so I had the jewelry glue and I glued it back in. But I'm telling you, $35, $3, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Da, da, da. Like, you want to talk about being responsible with your money. Like, Salvation Army. Da, da, da. Da, da. Like, I mean, just, can we please? Like, I feel like I'm in The Great Gatsby. Like, it's just so delicious. I can't even, I'm not on a good filter for this to look good. Anyway, this is just absolutely stunning. It's divine. Anyway, and these are amazing too. They have their place. They have their place. But I'm saying like, you know, compared to these are like how they used to make copy pearls. And these are just like, these are, I don't even know how to explain that. Anyway, my point is I don't know how to explain all this. Like, this is just, my life's totally changed. Like, look at that. Like, everything's different now. And so now let's get into, okay, one last thing before we get into the clothing. So anyway, right now, the other thing that I do to fight BASF and these things is to like get myself out of debt. I know I'm doing a lot of experimental treatments. That's why I was able to set all this up for you. Like, I was able to do all the clothing. I was able to get all the jewelry out for you. I was able to get all dressed for this, and I was able to get out all my makeup for you. I have never really been able to do that, not since the very beginning. This has been a really, really big deal. I was able to get more out for you than I ever was able to do before. I was even able to get my walker out for you to like sit there from across the side of the house. That's a big freaking deal. Over my gym equipment and everything. I'm like, this is huge. Anyway, I'm wearing 2 lipsticks today. So this is my Wet n Wild $3 on this side, and this is my Clinique on this side, right? So I am trying to be really, really good and really, so when I fight BASF, I wear like the $3 kind, and like I try to stick to that, but you can see the difference in quality. This is $16. This is like, I highly, highly recommend this, but if you're in the middle of experimental treatments and in the middle of medical, I recommend this. I'm pretty sure Wet n Wild is like BASF. I do like stick to, I mean, the best way you can fight Germany and the best way you can fight the Nazis is by being out of debt. That's the best way you can do it because they're basically bankers. And so stay out of debt and pay off your credit cards. And so, you know, like makeup I'm wearing right now is just the CG Smoothers. It's like a $3 to $4 CoverGirl thing. I know that they make it, but I'm not wearing their L'Oreal anymore. I'm not wearing their other expensive things anymore. I'd love to wear Clinique and stuff like that, but that is too expensive for, I'm trying to pay down everything and put all of, even the money you donate to me. I am trying to be very, very good about medical only. I've got so many things like all the PT and the OT and whatever, and making sure I get healthy and walking again. Does that make sense? And like just walking again, but like, I'd like to be able to move to side and like be functional every single day and move every single day and do more every day, if that makes sense. You guys know what I mean. To have an actual normal functioning healthy life. And so that is all, like, I'm trying to put everything towards medical, like medical and the cats, as I promised, like try to be as responsible as I can. And that means not like taking your money and spending it on makeup. I'm still financially being responsible on the side of my life. And so that doesn't mean going out and spending on Clinique. As much as I want to, I spend on this. So Clinique is like a splurge, and I'm just learning to do that because I don't want to do it. But I'm like, okay, like even this, like this is a CG Smoothers foundation, concealer, and this is, I believe, cheaper than the under eye of the NYX or whatever. So I just keep these two. I know all of it, like NYX and everything. I know all of it's BASF, but I'm like, it gets me out of debt faster, which is out of BASF faster. That's the way I look at it. I'm like, my best thing is to just get out from underneath the bankers fastest I can. That's my job. That's my job, is to get out from underneath them. And that's getting out of Germany and Japan and China, the whole thing, because China owns all the banks. I'm like, get out from underneath under them. So this is, and then also things like this. Like this is a good example. So these are mascaras, right? I like the number 7. Number 7 is BASF. This is also the Power Lash Mascara, whatever. They both do the same thing. But I can get this for just about the same price at cosmetics company for Clinique. So now I only get this. I don't do number 7 anymore because it's BASF and I can get it right within $1 or $2 of the same range. So I'm like, this is out. The moment this is done, boom, number 7's gone. Like I do not purchase number 7 anymore. No, it's super expensive. And then other things that I don't have other replacements for, they're like $3 replacements, like the Clinique eyebrow, like, you know, and I don't have to wear eyebrows very often, so that's going to last me probably a lifetime. And then MAC with the blushes, I've tried every blush underneath the sun, and the only thing that works with me, I'm not wearing any today because I'm wearing 2 different lipsticks to show you, so that's going to last me forever. And so anyway, so that's all that. And then let me show you some of the, gosh, we're at 40 minutes, but that's okay. So then I'm going to show you, and men, I hope that you can kind of understand that you can get this for men as well. There's a lot of gorgeous things I got for my husband, and maybe I'll show you some of those as well. But maybe I'll go get some of those now. So I'll show you those men so you get a little stuff out of this too. Hold on. All right, men, I have some things for you. So these are some of my favorite things that I've gotten for my husband that are vintage. So these were all about, I think, and they're about $3 to $5. It doesn't matter. You know what? I've noticed that thrift stores really vary. Like in California, thrift stores were highly expensive. But then again, the quality you can get. I know when I was younger in California, the quality was just so crap. And so I think that every thrift store is different. Some thrift stores are really corrupt, I'm learning. And so it just depends on the thrift store you go to. You need to find one. For example, like one that we really loved in California was Mermaid's Chest in Santa Barbara, right by the pier, Mermaid's Chest. And like I got this gorgeous, we got so many gorgeous things there, and that was so reasonably priced. Like they just had the most amazingly priced thing. They just do it because they love it. Like that couple just does it because they love it. And I love that woman. I could talk to her for hours. But this is like a gorgeous like silk scarf. Like I just love this silk scarf. And that got us into vintage shopping. Like, I mean, I thought it was a thrift store, but it just got me so into, you know, that's not men. So anyway, so it just varies, men. So these things are really inexpensive where we are. So, I mean, it just varies. But this is like a gorgeous shirt. So I know it's Van Heusen, but this is Van Heusen from previously. Like this is an older Van Heusen shirt. So it's made much better. And it's one of my favorite Van Heusen shirts. It's like gorgeous. I don't know if you can tell how well it's made. Oh gosh, I don't know if that's showing up. It's this really beautiful, like cream shirt, if that makes sense. It's a really gorgeous cream shirt, and it has an actual, like, it almost looks like a golf shirt, kind of like, and it has this gorgeous, like, pattern to it, if you can see that. It has this gorgeous pattern, this, like, bamboo pattern to it, and so it's much thicker than Van Heusen shirts today. It's much thicker, much better made. The seams are all much stitched better. Doesn't come apart at all. And it's been washed so many times, and it's just, you can't tell it's been washed at all. I mean, that's the nice thing, is older things, just you can wash it and you just can't tell. And it looks so good on him, and the shape doesn't change at all. So it looks like a brand new shirt, but he's had it for a while now. And this is a thrift store shirt. This is a thrift store shirt. It's like I got it across the street, a thrift store shirt. So we got it worn and used, and it doesn't even look like it's used, right? This is another favorite one of mine. I can't tell you where the heck it's from, but I love this shirt on him. It looks like it's mustard. Oh my God, he looks so sexy in this shirt. I don't know if you can tell what good quality it is, but it's such good quality. It's such a nice shirt. It's so nice. It's one of these shirts, right? One of these shirts that does this kind of thing on it. But the quality of it is so nice. These shirts aren't so quality. And the thing is that today when they make this kind of waffle pattern, they make it with a wider waffle so that when you put it into the laundry, it kind of comes apart very quickly. And this isn't. Do you see how it's a tighter waffle pattern? It makes me want to just hug him up. Makes me always want to hug and snuggle with him. I wish I could more often. So I don't know what tag it is or anything like that, but it's just gorgeous. And so he's washed this numerous times, and you can tell that it hasn't lost the shape on it either. Just beautiful. And I know that I have a ton of lights and everything, so you can't see it, but this is actually much more dense. It's like it's not faded out at all. It looks faded, but it's not. It's a really, like, this looks like orange, and it's not. It's like this deep bright red, but all this lighting is just fading it all out. So, like, for example, this is a dark charcoal gray jacket. Like, it almost looks black, and I'm wondering what color it's going to come out. So this is, oh, good. It shows up a dark charcoal gray black. So like this is a gorgeous, like, and it looks practically new. And this is something you got at a thrift store. And this one he got at the Salvation Army. Gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. Look at that gorgeous burgundy lining. And this is J. Farrar, but it's one of the J. Farrars that, like, you can tell was made a long time ago. Isn't that gorgeous? It was made a long time ago, but not so long. So it's a slim fit too. And so in that you wouldn't expect at like something like the Salvation Army, but it is, and he got it there. So it looks so sharp in it. So, and then he's gotten like tuck suits and things like that. We've gone to consignment shops and everything like that. So there's just a ton of gorgeous things that you can get. So, and I hope that helps you out to see the kind of things that you can get. We get belts there and things like that. Don't get beat up things. And then for you ladies, just to see kind of the things that I've gotten, I don't shop anymore. Like I've got my set things. I've got my set. I don't shop any more at all. Because I'm pretty much wearing, I've learned, like, I just don't wear, I'm like, what am I wearing? Like, I'm trying to get towards, like, not wearing bathrobes and wearing clothing. Like, that's my goal. My goal is now to wear all this stuff on a consistent basis, like, all day long. That's my goal, is to be able to, like, not just wear this to tape, you know, and then go back into a bathrobe. I want to be able to wear this like all day. So that's my goal. That's what I'm working toward with my physical therapist and my occupational therapist, and with the procedures on my spine and stuff like that, and on my head. But boy, do I have the house things. So for example, oh boy, let me pause so that I can get to all of it. Just a moment. Okay, so if you're looking for sales and you want to be responsible, what I would say is look for sales when it comes to, like, I brought you up here so you can actually see. So this was supposed to be my handicap closet, and then I was like, oh, I have to be able to stand up to actually reach it. But it's great for my pillows. I have so many bolsters and everything like that, and the cats love it. So I'm getting there. I just look at it. It's so pretty. I'm like, yay! Everything, that's my goal. My goal is to reach it every day. So anyway, so for example, like these, like I now look for, these are things that I got in New York when you guys sent me stuff. So these are like leather gloves. So I would say, like, they're actual vintage stores that are more expensive. They're not thrift shops. They're actually vintage stores that are more expensive. Like some nice ones that you can go into New York. These are going to be nicer and like have the more expensive things. When they have sales, that's what you want to look for. So then you can get like the really nice things. Like these are gorgeous, gorgeous gloves. And these are, oh, I have a nice big ring on. I don't want to try that on. So then it, like, that's kind of like what you want to save for, because these things will last you a lifetime. These are going to last me a lifetime. These gorgeous, gorgeous gloves are going to last me a lifetime instead of a pair of gloves they're going to wear out on the laundry. These are also going to last me a lifetime, like these gorgeous lace gloves. I can't wait to wear them. But when you find a store and when they have sales, that's what you want to look for. And maybe they have them on Black Friday. And I don't know, because I haven't done like the high-end vintage. I've only been once or whatever. But like that is like, then I wonder if you can wear a ring on that. And now you're pimping. Now you're pimping. Now you're pimping. Now you're pimping. Now you feel like you did Black Friday and you actually spent your money wisely. Does that make sense? Now you actually feel like you spent your money wisely. Okay? So other things that I've gotten that I can't wait to wear. You've seen some of them on my videos. But these things are all like this one I got, for example, at a consignment shop. I got it at 50% off. This is a Lanvin shirt. Like, as you're not Lanvin shirt, but like this is a Lanvin coat, right? So like this is an actual gorgeous suede jacket. Uh-oh. Do I have... Oh, yay! I've been looking for these. I've been looking for gloves. Yay! Where have my gloves been? I'm like, any earrings in here? I bet I have earrings. Nope. Okay. I'm like, oops. Shoot. I'm like, what else? Where are my other earrings? I'm like, or where are my other gloves? All right. So this is a gorgeous jacket that I absolutely love. This is a Velt. I mean, look, I'm just saying, like, these are much, much nicer things. Let me try and compare it to something. Okay. I'll compare it to this. All right, this is a Zara jacket that I also got 50% off. This is Zara. This is one of those cheaply India sweatshop made ones that Antonio Ortega makes. He's the richest man in the world, and he makes it off of forced labor or slave labor by using the caste systems in third world countries. and using that caste system where you can't mobilize up through capitalism, you can't mobilize up through society because they don't have as many rights. That's the difference. All countries have capitalism. When they say capitalism versus, democracy or whatever, or capitalism versus socialism, all socialist countries have capitalism. That's why they have sweatshops in India. That's why they have sweatshops in China. China is the biggest socialist country in the world. That's why they have sweatshops in North Korea, for heaven's sakes. Every socialist country has sweatshops for a reason. Oh, they all are capitalist. Hitler had all of his Auschwitz and everything. They all ran actual things for BMW, things for, what should we call it, Ford. They ran things for Siemens, Krupp Steel. They're all capitalist. It's just that the citizens don't have rights. That's the difference. Socialism versus democracy is just how many rights the citizens actually have, right? And so when citizens have less rights in a caste system, the lower citizens, they're forced to do things like sweatshops. They can't own their own business and stuff like that. So I thought this was gorgeous. I was like, oh, this is Zara. This is gorgeous. And then I wore it once, and it totally, just one wearing, and it just completely stretched out. I don't know if you can see that, but the sleeves just completely died on one wearing. Just one wearing, and you can see that it actually it's gorgeous and everything. And I was like, oh, this is great. No, the sleeve collapsed and buckled. Whereas I wore something like, I'm just like, it's dead. Like it's completely dead upon one wearing. Whereas I wore something like this that I got at, I think, the Salvation Army. Yeah, the Salvation Army. I've worn this how many times? Can you tell? Does it look like it's been worn like 10 times? No. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous raincoat. Still looks brand new. Still looks brand new, and it's used. Yeah. So I'm just like, no, sweatshop factory things, they show. It always shows. It always shows. So this is just a gorgeous felt jacket, which you can't tell it's navy or whatever. Anyway, so here's something else I've gotten. So I don't know if you can see it. Dang it, this lighting with the dark. I'm like, do I have anything that isn't dark? Let's see here. I love this jacket. This was beautiful. This is American Eagle. You can see how, but it's still vintage, like it's older, so you can see that it's better quality. If it's the older stuff. So this is American Eagle that I got, right? But it's older, so it's gorgeous. Like this is a gorgeous felt jacket. Let's see. I left the tag on it. So, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding. $4.50 because it's the pink tag. You got to be joking me. Look at that. I just feel very lucky. Very, very lucky. And then this gorgeous, I don't know, you guys. So I'm like this will go with these earrings when I'm ready to go out. Like that will go with this. But this will not go with this. This is too nice. So I don't know. I'm like, you want to be responsible with your money? Like, be responsible with your money and go to thrift stores. Find thrift stores. Like, for example, like this jacket, which, don't get me wrong, I love. But this jacket was $7, and I was so excited because the jacket was $7. I was like, yay, $7 leather. And then I was wearing it, and I was like, oh, it's not real leather. And it didn't look right. I got so excited that it was $7. And I mean, it looked good on me and everything like that, but I'm like, I'm not going to wear it all the time. Like, it was a little tight around my neck. And I'm a lot more careful about what I buy now. Does that make sense? You can get really excited about how inexpensive things are, and you have to just be really, really smart about your money and still remember that once the money's gone, it's gone. You know what I mean? You should be saving for a house, saving for land, and it's still money out of your pocket. Start really paying attention to your actual bank account and seeing, like, when you look at your bank account statements, go online to your bank, go online to PayPal, and say, look at account, and look at it and say, like, see who's taking money out of your account, who's getting your money. You're actually getting in a lot of money every single month, and you want to see, like, who's taking it out, who's actually getting your money out. That's how you can be responsible with your money. You'd be absolutely shocked at how many donations are going out. For example, like for my husband, right? He is now down to a 32 waist. Yay, my husband. He's down to a 32 waist. That's so exciting. I think he's been there for a while, but he likes baggy pants, and so he like waited till the end. I'm like, okay, they're falling off of you, right? Because I have to hold on to him, right? And I'm like practically pulling his pants down when I like fall over and I grab onto him. I'm like, you're gonna lose your pants next time I grab onto you, right? Like we're just gonna lose it altogether. And so he's like down 32. We finally got him. And so sometimes I have to go onto eBay to actually find out if it's a size. So I go to eBay, but there are so many fakes on there. So you have to be a really good shopper. Like that's where I use my really good eye to know what's fake and what's not. It's very, very hard. Unless you have someone with a really, really good couture eye, you'll get had. You'll get totally had. And so I go on there and I'm like, okay, 32, 34, like because we can't get to a vintage shop. We've been trying to go for 2 months and I can't get there. I'm like, stay indoors, do PT, do OT indoors, right? And so we get in there and I go in there and I shop. And what do they do when I try and check out? Like, it actually says in there, donate to Feeding America. And I was just like, that's a UN charity. Like 5% of those donations maybe go to any kind of homeless or any kind of like, go across the street and feed somebody and you will have more of a chance of actually having money go to the charity. Like, it's totally a UN. It's like paying taxes to the UN. And I'm like, even PayPal, Peter Thiel is doing it. I'm like, everything asks you to donate today. Every single crook I've ever seen, every murderer, everyone who gets out of jail, what do they do right after they get out of jail? They start a charity. Haven't you noticed that? They're like, I'm just really interested in my nonprofit right now. I'm just really interested in my charity. Where do they get that advice? In jail. Like every single church owns one charity, right? Every single criminal owns 10 charities because they don't have to pay taxes. So I'm just like, quit donating. Look at how much money is going out and start donating with your time. Start donating with your volunteer hours. Start changing that up. And why don't you take a break from donating for a year and start donating with your time, your love, your energy. Start serving at a soup kitchen or just start an hour a week, and try to serve a different way other than your money. Just no more donations. Just go out. They really need your labor. No one's volunteering except for apparently Aerosmith. They're donating. And that's one last thing I want to end on for Thanksgiving and Black Friday is that I want to pay, like Aerosmith, they're not friends of mine. I do want to say that before everyone says, oh, Aerosmith is friends of hers. No, they're not celebrity friends of mine. I do have a lot, but Aerosmith's not one of them. They may watch my videos. I don't know. But they're not friends of mine, right? They're not in my circle or whatever. But they're a really good example of like why, like they're a really good example of why, like what the bond that draws me and my friends close. They're proof, like you can get it all and there's a reason they give back. You can reach the top and then you reach the top and it's like, oh, I have it all. I have everything. I have the money. I have the drugs. I have the girls. I have the da-da-da. I have this. I have the world at my fingertips. And then what? Is that everything? And then you find out that's not everything. That's not everything. And I know all the advertising will tell you that it is. Once you have all the Gucci bags, once you have all the Prada backpacks, once you have it all, that's everything. And it just isn't. Like, I felt like I had everything when I was reaching up there doing Dream On with my legs out. And I was just like, I have everything in the world. And then I was like, oh, right, your spine doesn't work. What are you talking about? Like, you're pinned to the ground for most of the day. What are you talking about? You're in chronic pain most of the day trying to distract yourself. Like, you're so good at like, and I'm like, what are you talking? And I'm like, because I have love. Like, I have love. I have worked my butt off to have love in my life. Like, I have love. I'm loved. I don't have any toxic people in my life. There are, like, a couple of toxic people, and they're, like, in the furthest back rows of my life. I very rarely deal with them. And that is just been very, very hard work of mine over so many years. And I'll have to tell you that story sometime or whatever. But that ain't easy. This culture doesn't, like, push that on you. But Aerosmith has learned that choice. And because of that, once you have love and you protect love in your life, you have the energy to give back. And they do. They go around. They don't just go around selling out huge concerts. Then they go to recovery centers and they share. Then they do huge concerts for Boston and they share. And you don't see a lot of celebrities doing that. The newer celebrities actually doing that and giving back. But Aerosmith does. And those, like, that tells you, like, gives you kind of a clue into, like, why, like, there's a side of celebrities that you guys don't ever get to see. And that's because, so there's not a lot of people are going to share that with you. And Aerosmith, You're very lucky that Aerosmith shares that side of their life with you. Usually when people hit the top and they realize that's not all there is, and they start changing their lives, they don't usually share that with the public. And we're very, very lucky that Aerosmith shares that side of their lives with you. And so then they start caring about people who will care about them and protect their private lives and be friends with and take care of friends. You'll see that with Michael Jackson. He had friends throughout America and throughout the world. And why was he friends with them? He'd stop into town and see them and spend hours or spend the day with them. Why was he friends with them? Because they never spoke a word that they knew him. Ever. Ever, ever, ever until the end, until they were like, Michael Jackson gave me something to give to someone. I'm just trying to give it to them. You'll never hear from me again. And that's it. That's it. We never heard about them before or whatever. And that's exactly the way it is. Exactly. And they're legit. I'm just like, yep, that's exactly the way it is with celebrities. That's exactly the way it is. They don't want your business spoken about. And they're exactly the kind of people that gravitate when you talk about normal people being friends with celebrities. That's exactly what it is. You see them as a human and you never ever talk business. You never ever talk their personal business because you respect them as a human. You treat them as your next door neighbor. I never talk my next door neighbor's business. Nope. I finally realized, I was like, what am I doing? I'm not going to share my neighbor's conversation. That's my neighbor's business. That's my neighbor's private business. I was so into it and everything because I could just share all. And I was like, nope, private business, just as important. His privacy is just as important as just as important as my friends and just as my biggest celebrities' privacy, just as important as their privacy, if that makes sense. No different, created equal. We all deserve the right to privacy and our private lives. So, and this Thanksgiving, I'll try and make a separate video, but just about spending responsibly, that's what you can do. It gets exciting when you get in those thrift shops and you might go through a little phase where you overspend, but then check your bank statements. You might be surprised at how much you spend and everything. You might be really surprised. So you can be wise with your money. You can be really, really wise with your money, but that doesn't mean spending on Black Friday. There's not really a way to spend on Black Friday unless you already know, I need decorations for a party. This is what I need. Or Home Depot, you're like, oh, I know that I need this for, this certain thing. But Home Depot, if there's stuff at Home Depot that's marked down, the further it's marked down, the more it's junk. They're not really going to have stuff. They're closing out stuff, if that makes sense. The less it's marked down, the more real it is. So they'll have things throughout the year that are going to be great deals. You want to get those things throughout the year. And so it's going to be just the more specialized items, the better deals you're going to get. If there are stores that are not super huge chains, local, there are local, farming chains around here, smaller chains like Ace Hardware or local private chains, you're going to get a much better shot with them. Private chains cannot go out there and shell out for a whole new line of products. They can't do that. They can't shell out for a whole new line of products. Whatever sales they have will be exactly what the products are. But it's very possible if they're importing things that are already made in China, then those lines are tainted with whatever that product line is doing. Does that make sense? I'm just really disappointed. There are a lot of Made in America products. Those are always going to be high quality. I'm really enjoying buying Made in America products. Switching over to that has been fantastic. I'm like, wow. That's been really fantastic. So, because those quality items have just been wonderful. Knowing that you're buying human rights finally from people that are not forced labor, who have the same rights as I do, who have equal rights. I'm just like, wow, it feels really good. And then you can see it in the quality of the item that you get. So, and you can see that as well with even things that were made in China before 2000. That's why you see things from China made in the 90s that's better. It's because our trade restrictions had human rights restrictions on them. So China had to treat their workers better. They had to give them more rights in order to make that stuff, in order to import it here. We had restrictions. And then Mitch McConnell got together with Dianne Feinstein. A bunch of Republicans got together with Democrats, and they ripped out the human rights conditions. And so now they can do $1 a day, just like they did in Nazi Germany with Auschwitz. Same price they paid them. In fact, it's less. I believe it's $1.75 a day a man for every man at Auschwitz. And they're paying them less, I think. Or it was $1 a day in Auschwitz for a worker, and it's $1.75 a day at the Manchurian, the Mauschwitz. There's a certain name for it in the prison camp labor that's making the HP parts and the Apple parts for Invitech that makes all the computer parts for all of the electronics. So it's really scary. I know we finally saw the big Apple factory, and I was like, where's all the workers? It looked like an automated factory. I was like, where's the workers? You know, way to go, Apple. You brought in a thing that's one big automated, Amazon factory that just automatically goes around. I was like, there are no workers employed here. And why would they when they can get a worker for $1.50, $1.75 a day for Invitech, through Taiwan? It's really, really sad. So all I can say is support the trade war. And I wish they would go harder on it. I wish they would go in on that trade war even harder. It's horrific what they're doing to humans. There's 1 billion people there, 900 million people under the poverty line of $10 a day. That's horrific. That's forced labor line. All right, I love you guys so much. Anyway, be thankful for what you have. There's a lot to be thankful for. And if you know toxic people in your life, please don't spend Thanksgiving with them. So I know my life changed. My life changed with my husband and I decided to spend a holiday away from our toxic members of our lives. That's when our entire reality changed. Everything turned around and we started attracting people who are like us. I wish the same for you. So anyway, have a wonderful, wonderful holiday if I don't talk to you again. And I love you so much. Have a great Black Friday. Mwah. Bye. Oh, right. If I have time to do it. Hope I have time to do it. And subscribe to get things on time. Hopefully that was long enough. Mwah. Bye.